guys, today's video is going to be brought to you by me. Me and Andrew have decided to start our channel up again, mainly because Roe versus Wade has been overturned and wrongfully so. And I would like to go over basically what it means to me as a woman, of what this is going to do for the economy and whatnot. Also, I apologize for my mess. I dyed my hair earlier today. But, yes, as of yesterday, Friday, the 24th, Roe versus Wade was unfortunately overturned. And if I got the date wrong, I apologize, but either way it goes, Roe versus Wade has been overturned. And I just would like to know, America, what are we doing? We made all this progress to get to where we are today, only to go back 50 years. And, I don't feel like doing that. I do not want to be forced to have a child that I do not want, for many reasons. So, without further ado, let's get right into the importance of Roe versus Wade. Alright, so I have done a lot of research on Roe versus Wade. If you are subscribed to our old channel, you know I've already made a video about women's rights, at least their health rights. But as of right now, we are going to just go over simple, basic human rights that women are fighting to keep yet again. So, Roe versus Wade. I'm going to read that real quick for you out of this chunky notebook, and then we'll get to what's in this one. Alright, so Roe versus Wade was a landmark decision of the U.S. Supreme Court in which the court ruled that the Constitution of the United States protects a pregnant woman's liberty to choose to have an abortion without excessive government restriction. It struck down many U.S. state and federal abortion laws and prompted an ongoing national debate in the United States about whether to what extent an abortion should be legal and who should decide the legitimacy of an abortion, what methods the Supreme Court should use in the constitutional adjudication, and what the role of religious and moral views in the political sphere should be. Roe versus Wade reshaped American politics, dividing much of the United States into abortion rights and abortion movements, while activating grassroots movements. Okay, so, to shorten that, Roe versus Wade is basically a protection over women's reproductive rights, whether they choose to have a child or not, and whether or not they should keep the child or to not keep the child before it is fully developed. I have some points here on why banning safe abortions is going to cause a lot of problems. So, back in, well, at least the 1950s. The 1950s is when abortion was really a big thing. A lot of women back then would get pregnant, whether they were planning to or not, especially younger girls, and unfortunately victims of sexual assault. And they would be forced to have this child that they didn't ask to conceive because of non-consensual acts. And the reason most women would die would be because of unsafe abortions, whether it would be an under-the-table thing with little to no medical supplies and correct tools and clean tools that they would use, and coat hangers, unfortunately, the metal ones, and throwing themselves down the stairs to prevent this child from fully developing during the 6-week period. Another point of Roe versus Wade being overturned is taking away women's rights in general. We are no longer in charge of our bodies, unfortunately, and it's been centuries over that men think that women are lesser and are basically not humans. We're practically pets to them. We're practically objects, something to take the edge off and then not care about later. And if more things start to go wrong, LGBTQ rights are going to be stripped, and interracial marriage is also going to be stripped away. And they've already taken away things for women to not get pregnant if they are going to participate in sexual activities. So it's going to be very hard to find condoms. It's going to be very hard to find birth control and Plan Bs, at least legally. As of right now, if you are not planning on getting pregnant, I would suggest going to go get those things before they officially run out and are no longer legally allowed to be sold. Right now, being a woman is terrifying because we're not being pro-lifed, we're being forced birthed, which basically means we're all being forced to have a child that we didn't ask for, we didn't plan for, or anything like that along those lines. And that applies to literally every woman, whether you are non-binary, stuck in a femme body, or female to male trans, or whatever in that spectrum, you are in danger. And I would like to just tell you to take the proper precautions. Again, this is terrifying. It's a terrifying time to be a woman. It's a terrifying time to just live in the United States. And it's unbelievable that we're taking a step back. My ancestors and relatives that I've never met, on top of that, fought really hard to get to where we all are today. And the fact that we're going backwards is upsetting because we're letting 70-year-old plus white men be in charge of things that are irrelevant. It's not difficult to just let a woman make a decision that's her own about her own body. I think it's so wrong that, first of all, the 6 that voted against having Roe versus Wade continue and still be a safe way for women to do what they need to do. They lied under oath. And if they don't get in trouble for that, I wouldn't be surprised, knowing our government system and how it works. It took forever for George Floyd to get his justice, and bringing him up is relevancy. It's relevancy because there are just more rights that are going to be stripped away, and it's not right. We're all human. We all belong here. None of us, if you think about it, none of us asked to be on this planet. We're just here. And I think it's wrong to take that away from a woman, And there are a lot of people out there that are saying, well, maybe if you just don't have sex, you won't get pregnant. It doesn't work that way. There is more to Roe v. Wade than people seem to understand. It is not as simple as, oh, I just don't want a child. And now women that miscarry their children, they are going to be sent to prison because the baby didn't make it. And I do not think that is right, because there are a lot of women out there that have medical issues that physically cannot carry a child, whether or not they want one. There are plenty of women out there who have died because they had childbirth, because they got pregnant. Sometimes the women and the baby die during childbirth, and this is also sad. There are so many reasons that we need Roe v. Wade. And not having that, especially today, is terrifying. Like, knowing that we're all being forced to have children during a formula shortage, no less, is terrifying. The fact that guns have more rights than my uterus does is stupid. You can have a child and send it to school, and it's completely okay that some 18-year-old boy can just go buy an AR rifle, bring it to a school, and murder a bunch of children, which has happened super recently, and that is so sad. You know, the government is telling you, no, you cannot get an abortion because their life matters, but as soon as that child is born, they don't care about them, unless they're white, which is also stupid, because all children matter if they're going to be forced to live in the U.S., especially the U.S. And it's scary, you know? And it's a point to where when a child is born, that the government system stops caring if they're poor, if they're in the LGBTQ, or if they're black. If they're white, they're fine, you know? And a lot of people can't afford to have a child, and accidents happen, whether or not it's a happy accident or it's something else is going on. I would like to bring up another point. I'm not even going to sugarcoat this. To the women that support Roe v. Wade being overturned, you're freaking stupid, because your rights are also taken. And I hope that you realize this before it's too late, because that also means you are being forced to have a child that you did not ask for or you did not want. You also are going to be forced to have a child. No matter the circumstances, you will also be going to prison if you miscarry. And I would like to understand why you are okay with Roe v. Wade being overturned. That means all women's safety is being stripped away from us, and it's not good. I have several questions for the woman who also decided that overturning Roe v. Wade was okay. That was part of the Supreme Court. I have loads of questions that I'm not going to get into right now, because I'm still processing the fact that there are women out there who are okay with Roe versus Wade being taken away. Abortions are not illegal, they're just not safe. They are banned in certain states still, and even more so now than what they originally were. It's crazy to think that there's literally women out there okay with their rights being taken away. And it makes me so upset, because not only am I a woman, but I am diabetic, I am bisexual, and I am biracial. So I am literally checked off all of those boxes that people in the government system do not like. Because they're all evil, you know? They're all sins, and all of that makes me a lesser person in their eyes. And, you know, it's scary because, you know, I finally have a good relationship, and it's with a white man. And if things keep going the way they're going, because they mentioned this in the court, we're not going to be allowed to get married if the time ever comes. And I don't know how that's going to work for interracial couples that are currently married or planning to get married. Before I get into anything else, I would like to mention the states that are banning abortions yet again. North Dakota, South Dakota, Oklahoma, Texas, of course, stupid Texas, Arkansas, Montana, Alabama, Georgia, Ohio, my hometown, Wisconsin, South Carolina, Mississippi, West Virginia, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indianapolis, and Louisiana. So basically, most of the Midwest and all of the South is what I'm understanding. Alright, so we already talked about Roe versus Wade. Now let's get to what the Grassroots Project is and the definition of that. Okay. So, Grassroots Project. The Grassroots Law Project bridges the gap between grassroots organizing and legal expertise in criminal justice reform by bringing millions of us together to address the most pressing and egregious failures of the system, hold powerful actors accountable, and advocate for deep structural change. I do not know how to talk. I'm so sorry. And the definition of that is the most basic level of an activity or organization. That's just that. I don't know how to simplify that. It's already simplified. Alright. And we've already talked about the states, so we don't have to bring that up again. So abortion in the 50s. Let's run over that real quick. Alright. So, in the 50s, it was deadly for women to get abortions because it was done underground, which is basically illegally getting an abortion from either a lesser trained doctor or a doctor who does not feel like getting in trouble, so they don't bring all the correct tools that they need. The women who sought underground abortions during the post-war years faced sexual assault, excruciating pain, and sometimes even death. In 1961, excuse me, the Day Evening Post revealed the awful realities of illegal abortion. The governor of Alabama, K.I.V., signed the Alabama Human Life Protection Act into law, noting that extremely restrictive and controversial ban may be unenforceable, but will likely act as a call on the U.S. Supreme Court to revisit its 1973 decision, Roe versus Wade. So basically, long story short, in the 50s, there were a lot of pressures going on for women to have safe abortions, and it wasn't until 1973 where they finally made the decision to have Roe v. Wade approved and have all women be okay and protected for their reproductive rights. Alright, so a lot of people don't understand what abortion is. A lot of people think that it's just you're killing a baby. No, you're wrong. And there's so many reasons as to why you're wrong about that. Alright, so abortion, the definition: the deliberate termination of a human pregnancy, most often performed during the first 28 weeks of pregnancy. So that is before the fetus is even fully developed. There's no eyes or no anything yet. It's literally like the size of a jelly bean. Now, abortion as a whole. At the center of the abortion debate is a fundamental disagreement over a pregnant person's right to choose to terminate a pregnancy. Now, I keep repeating this over and over again. Abortion is so much more than just getting rid of a child because you don't want it. It's so much more than that. There are reasons women get abortions, and they should not have to elaborate on why they want or need one, because it is none of your business. It is none of my business. It is her body. It is her choice, and she can do whatever the heck she pleases. Now, we're going to move on from that. Cons of banning abortion. So, the bad things about banning them. Let's see. I mean, I could literally list this off the top of my head, but I like looking official, so this is what we're doing. Alright. So, the cons of banning abortion. We will have more masses of women dying and committing suicide because they cannot take care of their needs the correct way, because guns yet again, have more rights than our uterus. It's just depressing. We will have more women using coat hangers, like I said previously. We will have more women throwing themselves down the stairs to try and get rid of it that way. But in reality, it's just more self-harm because they cannot take care of it the correct way. Women will start to develop more unhealthy habits like smoking and drinking every day heavily, more than what is recommended. Because if you drink while pregnant, it can affect the baby. And women will continue to do that until they no longer have said fetus. Medical issues could kill the mother and the child, meaning that if the mother carries out the pregnancy the way she's supposed to, depending on like what's going on, the mother could die at childbirth, or both mother and child could die at childbirth. Which either way it goes, it sucks. Now, pros of unbanned abortions would simply be as easy as just removing a fetus before it is fully developed safely, so that way nothing bad happens. Or just the simple fact that a woman doesn't have to go to prison because she miscarried. Some women physically just cannot have children. There are women out there who are infertile, who wish that they could have children. Roe v. Wade being taken away is so stupid because there are literally children in adoption homes, adoption centers and foster homes that just sit there. And most kids don't even get adopted. Some kids are stuck there until they're adults because nobody wanted them. And then foster homes, well, that just writes itself out. Foster homes, they can either be really good or they can be really bad. We don't ever really know what's going on in a foster home until you talk to a child. There are 3 honest people on this earth: a drunk, a child, and, well, just victims, you know? Now, so, I have a short synopsis of Roe v. Wade in 2022, and all the links will be down below if you want to read these yourself. Alright, so Roe v. Wade 2022. Overturning Roe v. Wade, the landmark ruling that limited government restrictions on abortion will allow states to change access to abortion, allowing state legislators to pass laws banning abortion. Prior to federal visibility, blue states, however, are looking to expand access to abortion, which means making it more acceptable, more legal, and just more okay. Alright, so, if you do not know who RBG is, you're living under a rock. A big rock, because she did a lot, especially for women. And we're going to get into that in just a second. So you're probably asking me, who is Ruth Bader Ginsburg, also known as RBG? She was an American lawyer and jurist who served as an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States from 1993 to 2020. She passed away, unfortunately. She was the first female Jewish Supreme Court Justice. But she was also the second woman on the Supreme Court. And I have provided a quote from her saying, "I would like to be remembered as someone who used whatever talent she had to do her work to the very best of her ability." I don't know how to read, and I apologize. It's also like 1 a.m. So yeah, RBG is very important. She has very, very many books that you can read on literally all of women's rights. If we keep going the way we're going, women are not going to be allowed to have jobs anymore. And the only reason women in general have jobs are because when the troops went out for a war and the economy was just plummeting, even more than it is now, they had to have women go and work to keep things going. And I'm not about to be a 50s housewife against my will with a child that I didn't ask for. Yeah, this video is a hot mess. That's okay with me, because it's the first one back. But, yeah. Overturning Roe v. Wade is probably the dumbest thing that literally anyone can do. Every woman on this planet is in danger. And any woman in a... No, that's not how I want to phrase it. And anybody in a woman's body that doesn't feel like they belong there are also in danger. This affects more than just women, and I need people to know that, and I need people to understand that Roe versus Wade is so much more than what they think. I need people to read more on the subject matter. I need people to actually take the time to understand how terrifying it is to be a woman, especially in today's economy. It's just the simple fact that we no longer have control over what we say or over what we do with our own bodies. And I think it's absolutely disgusting that, first of all, we're letting men decide what is okay and what is not okay to do with our own bodies. And two, I also do not appreciate how we have people in the government system that are literally old enough to be my great-grandfather and great-grandmother running the U.S. We need people in there that are younger, because times have changed and they're going to continue to change. And I think it's utterly disgusting and appalling that my rights were literally stripped away, and I am only 22 years old, and the fact that my grandmother, both my grandparents, have lived through these time periods and we're back to it, and they're not even... They have not passed away yet, and the fact that we have to do this again disturbs me. Literally today, a friend of mine asked me if I wanted to go out today, and I told her no, because I did not feel safe leaving my house. I'm scared. I'm terrified. Because there are people out there that are sick and are going to do things now because we have no choice but to have a child. And it's not safe. And so many women are going to die or be in jail because of forced birth. And, you know, all the stuff I read was just information, which is a synopsis of what's going on and what's happened in the past. And, you know, I can be very illiterate sometimes. I struggle to read. But I make sure I get the point across. But now it's just a simple me time at the moment. Like, I have some things I need to say. I have some things I need to get off my chest. I will never understand how there are women out there right now that are okay with their rights being stripped away. Because there are so many things that can go wrong during a pregnancy. And a lot of my friends are literally having children by their own choice. And, you know, I hope they have a good and healthy pregnancy, especially now, because you can literally go to jail if you miscarry. And I think that's the dumbest thing. Because first of all, that does not give you any time at all to mourn and grieve over somebody's life that you created, whether you wanted to or not. It's sad. And, you know, there are people out there posting on Facebook, like, imagine being upset because babies get to live. That is not the point. It is not about saving children. It is not about babies living. It is about women not being able to have a say in a decision that is huge. First of all, it is a huge step to decide to create a life and raise a life. You know, kids can't even go to school safely anymore these days. There are literally women out there who don't want to have kids because there's a fear of their school getting shot up like in elementary school, not even that long ago, was shot up. These kids were like 5 to 10 years old. They should be here today, and they're not, because a gun is super easy to buy at the age of 18. And I will never understand how it's okay for a fresh 18-year-old to be able to buy an assault rifle, which, why do you need an assault rifle anyway? You're not in the military. You're just a kid who decides one day, like, you know what? I'm bored. I'm just gonna go shoot up a school. Like, first of all, who does that? Where's your mother? Where's she at? Where's your father? Like, if you have something legit going wrong in your head, try to find help. It's okay to find help. It is okay to ask for help, even if it doesn't feel like it. And it's just, abortions mean a lot more than just killing a jelly bean. Because, like, when you get an abortion, it's, like, literally the first few weeks. Because you can't just go get it done before it, like, appears. It has to be, like, semi-formed. It has to be at least, like, this big. Because when they're, like, this big, there's still no heartbeat. They're still forming. Like, that's the beginning of a baby. Like, they're this big. If that. They might be even smaller. But it's just, it's a lot. It's a lot right now, and every woman should be fearful of what's going on right now. And, you know, it's okay to be pro-life as long as you're not shoving it down someone's throat. Like, if you're not okay with getting an abortion, don't have one. Don't have one. If you want a child, cool. Just don't make it a big deal. It's your decision to have a kid. And, you know, there's plenty of reasons why women don't want kids or can't have kids. I'm diabetic, you know, and diabetes and pregnancies, they tend to not go well. And, you know, I would like to start a family that obtains children, but I'm scared now because if I get pregnant and I carry it out and I give birth and I have my child and they don't make it, I'm going to jail for that. Me. Because my body, mine, not the government's, can't physically handle it. And, you know, it's a lot. And there are people out there who don't understand why we're so upset and why we're so enraged. Like, imagine your rights being taken away. And just think about it. Think about how wrong that is. The fact that it is 2022 and we are still fighting for basic human rights is disgusting. But I gotta end this video here. Tell me what you think in the comments. I don't know what else to say. I haven't done this in a while, and I apologize for the poor lighting and everything. It's just this video had to be made. I literally spent like the last 16 hours getting this information. So I hope you guys like this video. I'm not sure what Andrew is going to have for you guys next Friday, but for me, this is my video. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, find us on Facebook and shoot us a message. Alright, bye guys.